Hello and welcome to In the Spotlight with Quocirca, the definitive podcast on digital disruption in the print industry. I'm Luella Fernandez, Director of Quocirca, and today I'm joined by Philip Defoe, Intermedia Sales Director for EMEA. Today we'll be discussing the opportunity for Unified Communications as a Service, or UCaaS, for MPS providers and hearing about how Intermedia are helping their partners capitalise on the opportunities and trends in this space. So welcome to the show, Philippe. It's great to have you here today.
Thanks, Luella. Thanks for having me on this podcast. Excited to be here and tell you all about Unified Comms and what it can mean as an opportunity for managed print partners.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we hear more about Intermedia, can you tell us a bit about your career history and your job role at Intermedia today?
Yeah, sure. I've joined Intermedia about 2 years ago, and my role is to grow the channel in the UK, but also across Europe and potentially Middle East and Africa. So I come with a kind of a communications background, and I was interested about Intermedia because obviously with the pandemic, everything is going cloud and communication as well. So and I think it's quite exciting. Market with voice communication, but also instant messaging, video conversion, and all instant solutions. So my role is to grow in the UK. We're having success already, and looking to work with more partners, including managed print partners, to share that success in the UK. We've got already many awards with UC Today provider, UCaaS provider of the year. We've been nominated with some national awards as a UCaaS vendor, Best Channel Portal. We've also been nominated with Sierra in the UK, received some awards with PC Mag on how easy our application is to use and how efficient it is. So we've got different awards to prove that the product is solid.
Yeah, so for the audience that aren't familiar with Unified Communications as a Service, can you tell us a bit more about the technology and the market opportunity?
Yeah, so Unified Communications is basically the way to communicate through, a phone or a mobile phone, or maybe a cell phone, or simply a web browser from a computer. So, and the idea is to provide a consistent and intuitive user interface or user experience for people to do that. So, as I mentioned, it could be voice communications, it could be instant messaging, like a one-to-one or like a team chat, things like video conversion like we're doing today to share and present something, whether it's a video or presentation and so on. But all that to make it easy to work, whether you're in the office, on the road, on your mobile, or at a customer location or a partner location, and make sure that you're always responsive and in touch with your employees, and to ensure that you can deliver the best customer experience to your customers.
Yes, actually, we are recording this podcast on the Intermedia platform. So could you tell us a bit more about Intermedia as a company and its UCaaS platform?
Sure, yeah. I think maybe not many people in the UK are familiar with Intermedia. We've been in the UK actually since over 20 years now, primarily as a Microsoft Exchange partner. So we started with the business email and email encryption, backup, compliance, and we've added Unified Communications over the time. So in the US, we're one of the top 3 providers. We are obviously growing in the UK and Europe, as I mentioned. We've got about 500,000 people using our UCaaS solutions, our Unified Communication solutions every day. And it's all our own products with our own intellectual property that we developed that. So we control the roadmap and we make it available to our customers with a 5.9 uptime SLA. So, high availability solutions.
So as we all know, MPS providers are really looking at opportunities to move into new adjacent IT-related services. Can you tell us a bit more around what Intermedia sees as the opportunity for MPS providers to move into this market?
Absolutely. So, we all know that, the volume print is declining because people are moving to digital transformation. However, I think for me, there's a good opportunity to move into kind of a connected workspace environment, right? So it's a device having portfolio, continue to imprint, manage print, but also about selling desktop solutions, selling unified communications, I think is a natural way to progress and to upsell or cross-sell other solutions. If you look at the UCaaS market, the unified communication and service market, today, depending on different analysts, it's roughly about 17 million out of about over 400 million of hosted telephony, but that is just like business telephony users and not just hosted. So it's a very low penetration. So although we've seen massive expansion, especially for the pandemic, about cloud communications, it's still overall in infancy. Worldwide, less than 4% of business telephony users have got UCaaS. So they may have IP telephony, right, which is just basically ring a phone on an IP network, but they don't necessarily have all the video collaboration, expensive instant messaging, the contact center solution or customer service solutions that they need to really work. So there's a massive potential to grow that. It's still a market that's growing. We're moving year on year, about 10% more are moving to the cloud.
Yeah, so I just want to pick up a bit more on some of the benefits you outlined just now. Can you tell us a bit more about how easy it is for MPS partners to transition to the Intermedia UCaaS platform?
Yeah, so maybe then we need to talk about our business model, but in a nutshell, effectively, we've had success with people already started to move into a recurrent revenue business model, right? So a monthly recurring revenue. I think these companies have already started to move to the cloud. They know how to compensate as well the sales team for that, but we can help. We can help with that. Right? We can give them some guidance on how to move the commission, the sales compensation commissions of salespeople, moving from an OPEX model where you make big huge margin on selling a big project. And now it's moving to a more of a monthly per user per month billing. So obviously you need to change your sales compensation based on that, but we can help our partners with that. We can also help them in terms of pre-sales, demonstrations, in-house demo systems to make that transition better. So we don't need to shy away from the fear of the unknown. We can help them with that. We made our product very easy to use. So we just have free user license. And so with all the kind of package you want, so you've got video collaboration by default on there, you've got unlimited calls and to UK, Europe countries, so there's less surprise, etc. So we want to make it as easy as possible for our partners to understand and how to sell unified comms.
Yeah, so you just mentioned that you're working with some MPS partners already, and I know this is primarily in the US. Can you tell us a bit more about those US partners and the reasons that they chose the Intermedia platform?
Yeah, sure. I can share some of the past experience if you want from our partners. You probably know some of those, right? So the large money print partners in the US, companies like Pacific Office of Automation, POA, Loeffler, LDI, Kyocera, all resell our solutions. So we look at ourselves and some of our competitors, and it shows us. One of the key reasons I think it shows us is about the simplicity of the offer, right? So I don't know if you've seen our product, but it's got a very intuitive user interface because it's nice to have lots of features and bells and whistles, but if end users can't use it, it makes life difficult. It makes also a more of a support headache. So we spend quite a bit of on R&D money towards that. It's actually our own product, right? We develop everything ourselves. It's all our own intellectual property. So to make it easy to use, make sure that instant messaging, file sharing, backup, instant messaging, voice, video, everything works together on a simple package. In terms of the way we sell it, and I think that was one of the attraction as well, is the simple user licensing. So again, you don't need to be having PhD in sales or UCaaS if you want to sell our solutions. You just pick up a user, you can mix and match based on it. So the right users have the right license they want. And in terms of the quoting and selling process, we try to make it easy for our partners. We have a partner portal that our partner, US partners and UK partners, of course, can use to pick up. So again, they choose what license they want to have. Click. They can get a proposal to their customers, either like it great. We can push a button, it will automatically provision the account. You don't have to retype everything. And in 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes max, the account is live. That's a massive differentiator with some other competitors who just can't do that in that kind of time frame. And the nice thing is that once it's provisioned and up and running, you can use the same partner portal to obviously provision the account. Everything is, all the phones are shipped and they're pre-provisioned, so you just plug and play if you want, and it's ready to go, or you just a headset. But you can also do the monitoring as well, so you can see the voice quality, what it is. So it goes back to the point in terms of support, right? So it's important it has to be easy to sell, but it has to be also easy to support, because otherwise, and I know that's typically sometimes some of the agents or the managed print partners, it's quite new to them. So if we have portal, we give you a quick view about what's the call quality, send you some alert on SMS, on email to say there's an issue there, and this is why the issue is. It helps reduce the support headaches and make life easier. And I think that's one of the key reasons why we're getting the success in the US, also now also in starting to get in the UK.
So based on that, when MPS partners are evaluating the UCaaS market, what would you recommend that they consider when they're looking at a UCaaS platform?
Sure. I mean, definitely. There's definitely many UCaaS vendor in the UK. I think what is important is that you want to work with a partner that will work for you, right? Will work with you. That they don't ask you for an upfront commitment or rebate. We talk about sales agent, etc. So if you have a sales agent or you receive a commission, basically you lose control of the customer. So you really want to work with a vendor that work 100% with the channel, not against the channel. So people who, like Intimedia, who have decided to work with the channel to help them grow, and also choose a vendor that can also provide that solution globally, right? So you may have customer in the UK, may have some in Germany, in the Netherlands, across Europe, but maybe also US, Canada, Japan, Australia. So with Intimedia, you have a choice of a global vendor. And I think that's one of the nice things about the cloud solutions is, they can be deployed much more easily than an on-prem solution and give you that global footprint. So when you choose a vendor, make sure that it's a global vendor. They will support you through an internal channel strategy, and help you rather than putting some breaks and you say, oh, you haven't done your rebate, so we're going to give you some money back. So ask you some money. So we've seen that in the field. So choose wisely. I might be repeating myself, but it's about the product, right? It has to be easy to use, easy to support, and also I think a product that the vendor controls. So ask them to see what is the roadmap. Are they control the roadmap? Is it their own product? Again, all of that is something that Intimedia can help with because we control intellectual property, we control our roadmap. We actually work with our partners to make the product even better for UK. It's already good, but we've got many things that talking to our partners and our customers, we've made it better over time, and we want to ship it with our partners. So that's important that they use the solutions that that's going to be there for the long run.
Yes, that's a great overview of some of the considerations MPS partners need to take when evaluating a UCaaS platform. From a sales perspective, can you give a bit of insight in terms of, from your experience with US partners, what level of investment is needed from both a sales and technical perspective?
That's a good question. So the way I've seen it is, I think for most people, typically they've taken a more unified comms guy, they acquired that talent, maybe one or two person to be the lead sales specialist and to try to cross-train the rest of the staff. I don't think you need to build a whole staff on that, right? But I think it's good that you have at least one champion within that business to help you understand the unicast. And again, we are here to help our partners to help with that. They'll be much more chunky. Let's say you go into more of a custom, contact center, omni-channel with web chat and so on. It's quite, it can be tricky to make sure the right questions, and we can help with that element. We also provide obviously an online training session. So in terms of sales, it's just 3 hours. and we try to do it in chunks, chunk bites. So you can just do 15 minutes at a time. So you can do that at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, and to try to make it easy for partners to consume. But yeah, going back to your question in terms of investment is, for most, what I've seen in terms of success is getting one or two people championing the unified communications within the business and to drive that message.
Yeah, so in summary, it's really interesting to hear about the capabilities of Intermedia and the functionality it offers in its UCaaS platform in terms of the flexibility and scalability to allow MPS partners to capture new opportunities in the UCaaS market. So it's been really interesting to hear what Intermedia is doing and how it's planning to expand. In fact, can you tell us a bit more about Intermedia's plans for expansion in the EMEA markets?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want, first, we don't want thousands and thousands of partners across the UK, right? So we want to, not quite cherry pick, but yeah, we want to work with our partners and make sure that we have a two-way relationship. So when I talk about, making the product better, I mean, this is true, right? So I want to engage with our partners, making sure that if we got valid market feedback, we make the product better. We want to, we can't win without our partners winning, so it has to be a win-win situation. In terms of the market where we see it going, so we obviously represent the UK and various European markets. Through NEC, we're also adding some new countries. We're adding Belgium, Luxembourg, Ireland, of course, Australia, Switzerland, New Zealand, further afield. So we're constantly adding some new markets. France and Spain will be next. To get that global coverage that we already have, but obviously we need to extend because you've got people, companies obviously distributed elsewhere.
So the UCaaS market is very new for many MPS partners. Are there any resources that Intermedia offer that can help MPS partners understand a bit more about the market opportunity and the Intermedia platform?
Yeah, I mean, obviously our website, intermedia.co.uk, is obviously a good resource. Obviously, visiting your own website, Corsica, is also a good resource. We've got on YouTube, we've got many videos on how to, so we can get the view on how the product worked. If they obviously join us, we'll have them with the sales training. Some of his online training. We can come to offices and train their whole staff. But also, I mean, I forgot to mention that the timing, especially in the UK, is good. So I don't know if some of the listeners understand about ISDN. So it's going to be traditional, the way companies connected to the public network for public switch network. It's called ISDN. That's being switched off by BT in 2025. So many customers are still using this traditional. So they're moving to something called SIP trunking. And for that, they can effectively upgrade their PBX to support SIP, or they can move everything to the cloud. And what we're seeing is typically people will say, okay, let's do away with the FAF and just move everything to the cloud, and then I can have not just voice, but I can also have video collaboration, etc. So it's all about the hybrid working that resonates well with customers. Why they need that. They have a mix of people working from home, some in the office, some working with partners or on the road with a mobile. They all need to be able to communicate with their customers and their partners. And so it's definitely a good opportunity, good market. It's quite exciting. Everything is changing every day. So, it's never a boring day out of the office for sure.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a really great opportunity for UK partners in particular to capture that opportunity that you just described. And as you say, hybrid working, the acceleration of cloud, and the growth of the UCaaS markets are all key opportunities for MPS partners to capitalize on now. So certainly I encourage the audience to take a look at the Intermedia website, and thank you again for a great conversation. It's been really interesting to hear more about UCaaS and the Intermedia platform.
Thanks, Rita, for inviting me, and no doubt we'll have another podcast shortly. And next time I hope to feature a managed brain partner from UK who can show the success they had so far.
So thank you for joining today's episode of In the Spotlight with Quocirca. For more information, please go to quocirca.com and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Many thanks again for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.